Dowsing, though functioning through a very different protocol from remote viewing, contains many similarities with regards to brain and subconscious function. However, the secret behind dowsing wouldn't be discovered until later in the military program. And while it may sound like remote viewing or dowsing was taken right out of a science fiction movie, the CIA and military intelligence couldn't ignore the shocking results. Although the research was still in its infancy, little could anyone imagine that the program would become a 20-year-long, multi-million-dollar endeavor that would end up changing the face of warfare forever.
Well, we were doing remote viewing in general for the U.S. military, specifically for Army INSCOM, Intelligence and Security Command. And then it turned out that rather than getting descriptions of particular sites, they had a lot of requirements, operational requirements for finding things. For example, a bug in a room, the location of a downed plane, location of an individual, an agent, say. And so they asked us, could we do the inverse of remote viewing? Rather than having a case where we knew where the location was, what was there, this was a case of, well, we know what it is we're looking for, we just don't know where it is.
We were tasked many on various hostage situations in the Middle East. Where's Terry Waite? Where's Colonel Higgins? Where's a number of other hostages that were being held by Hezbollah and some other friends? And we could actually describe the setting that these people were in, but when it came to actually putting our finger on a map and saying they're here, we were not able to do that. And so we started looking into ways of doing this, and one of those things we hit on was dowsing. I found out later that we were in a way reinventing the wheel, because in the early days of the remote viewing program, they had experimented with dowsing as well, tried some things out. But in transition from one set of personnel to another, some of that institutional knowledge had gotten lost, and so here we were trying to rediscover that. And another book was published called The Divining Hand by Christopher Bird. It's become kind of the handbook of dowsing, and it's very well written, but it had some startling revelations in it. It noted that a certain dowser named Louis Matacia had actually taught the U.S. military how to dowse during Vietnam, searching for hidden tunnels, searching for landmines, booby traps, and things like that. And that, in fact, there was even a newspaper article published that reported on the Marines actually using this skill in Vietnam to some success.
We built a combat village to train troops who are going to Vietnam. They taught the Marines in Camp Pendleton. I taught the ones at Camp Lejeune, they went over there. I taught the Marines at Quantico. I'll tell you what they found that I never even knew, which I thought was very significant. They found the communication system of the Viet Cong. He said the Viet Cong bury their orders in bamboo tubes and put them under the trail. I said, you're kidding. He said, no. He said, they found them. See, once you tell the Marines the system and they learn it, all they do is turn them loose and they'll find it, whatever you want to find. They knew these guys were dowsing everything in the book. Once you show them and they get results, then they're pretty well believers.